Hey, hi, Marcio. Good morning.
Good morning,
Um,
Carla.
it's
How are
great
you?
to have you here today. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Straight Talk with your host, Carla Olivares, broker associate with eXp Realty. And my guest today is Marcio Demelo, actually, he's the founder of Amethyst Mortgage, and he is licensed, mortgage broker licensed in 6 states. And he's going to tell us a little bit about him. We're going to get to know him. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his business and how he started. And well, we'll just have a conversation and ask a few questions. So take it away, Marcia.
Good morning, Carla. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Sure. So
So,
tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from?
sure,
How did you get started in the business?
sure. So I was born in Brazil and I was raised in Brazil until the age of 15. Then
Wow.
at 15, my parents brought us to New York, like the suburbs of New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole family, my mom, dad, myself, my 10-year-old brother, and my 9-year-old brother. So we're three brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 15 years old. So I went to high school here in the United States. And I actually have never gone back to Brazil since I came. I've been to other countries, but I've never gone back to Brazil.
Wow.
So yeah,
I
it's
heard it's beautiful. I haven't been there either, but I would love to
yeah.
go someday.
I
Yeah.
someday I'll go back, but I haven't yet. I instead have traveled in Europe and traveled extensively within the States. I really love the States, so the
Do
United
you do
States.
you
So
speak the language?
yeah, I speak
Portuguese?
Portuguese. Yeah, I
Okay.
speak Portuguese fully. My brothers do as well. But we became Americans, right? My brother served in the U.S. military. Today's
Mm,
Veterans Day. So like
that's right.
we are a military family. We kind of adopted
So you
the
too?
no, I didn't. I didn't
No.
have the courage. I didn't have the courage that my brother did. My brother
Okay.
graduated high school and 2 weeks later he shipped out to boot camp. And
Oh, wow.
I was scared.
Great.
I appreciate everything that he's done, but I didn't have the
We do
courage.
too. Of course.
I didn't have
Yeah,
the courage.
yeah.
So,
So
um,
tell us about, your
sure.
mortgage business and how you started.
Sure. So, so I went to, I never thought I was going to be in the mortgage business.
Mm-hmm.
I went to high school here in the U.S. I went to college in New York City. When I graduated college, I thought I was going to be an accountant. I have a CPA degree. Like I thought I
Mm.
was going to do taxes.
Well, it comes very handy when you do mortgages, right?
It does, it does. But I don't tell clients that I have a CPA degree because then they ask me for questions about their taxes, and I'm not up to date on any of the laws, so I don't want to give any, bad advice.
Right.
But I do know a little bit, right? And when I graduated college, I thought I was going to be a CPA. I was hired by Deloitte and Touche, one of the big four accounting firms, and I was placed in their mortgage department. So, and I worked there for almost 10 years. So I worked on not directly with customers, with buyers, but when the banks purchased a bulk of the mortgages at once, right? So let's say I get a loan, you get a loan, your neighbor gets a loan, and then the lender will pull all of those loans together, hundreds of thousands of them, and then they will sell and package those loans on Wall Street and sell to big investors, insurance companies, hedge funds. And so
Mm-hmm.
I worked on those products. So I learned a lot of the back end of the mortgage business, all of the financial calculations, prepayment speeds, all of the math
Where the big
related.
businesses.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hundreds of millions of dollars, a year. Uh,
So,
and and they were
so
basically on the financial side of it, like the math behind those products, but
uh-huh, uh-huh.
never the clients, the buyers, and like the emotional um connection that you have, because when you work on that end of the business, it's just the mortgage is an account number. It's faceless, right? Like it's just, this is the mortgage balance. Here's the monthly payment. We don't care about the address. We're just looking at it as a financial instrument and not what you do every day of like having that human connection with the clients who are purchasing their home. This is not when somebody buys a house, it's not a financial transaction for them. It's a home. It's a place where they're going to raise their kids, build memories, and all of those sorts of things. And when you're doing those transactions on a Wall Street, all of that is stripped away, and it's just basically
Business.
a business, a number, So, but I did that for about 10 years of my life.
So why did you choose that profession then, going to
Oh,
mortgages?
it chose me, right? So like I was recruited out of college. I put my name there, so they came to I went to school at New York University, NYU.
Yeah.
And they had a recruiting event where the company came to speak, and then if anybody was interested, you would put your name and your resume on the list, and they would select you to interview with them. So I was like, sounds pretty interesting, right? But I don't really know anything about it, but sounds interesting. So let me drop off my resume. In those days, we were just starting to get into emails, right? So I actually would print out a resume and drop off a copy. Like this is the late 90s, like the mid to late 90s.
I was just gonna say, how long ago was that?
It was like 1998, I think it was,
Okay.
because 1998, yeah, because I started in June of 1999, and I worked for them until the financial crisis in 2008. So when the financial crisis came, that's when I lost my job. Again, just business, right? When there's no
That's right.
business to be done
That's it.
on Wall Street, it's like, hey, we have a revenue number, we have an expense number, and if revenue is not greater than expenses, we got to cut people. But yeah, it was about 10 years that I worked for them.
So what drives you?
Um, Now, back then it was different. It was like monetary, right? Like now, I think what I really like about what I do now is that these transaction, it's not just a transaction, right? You and I just worked on the transaction together,
A very
and
difficult one, I may
very
add.
difficult one.
And you not what I was very amazed is that you didn't only promise that you were going to do this. You did it on a timely manner, and
Thank you.
the level of service. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but the level of service that you provided, not only to my clients but to me, was just amazing. I'm just very,
Thank you. Thank you, Carla. And
yeah,
when
very
you ask me
proud of you.
what drives me, those are the things that drive me, right? Like obviously I do this for a living. I get a financial benefit from every purchase, every closing. So, it's not a charity for me, right? I have a
Of
business. I
course.
have obviously my own expenses, my own children to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
But what drives me is the satisfaction of having a satisfied partner like you, who obviously we didn't really know each other before we started
Mm-hmm.
on a transaction. Now we have a level of trust with me. If you called me and I said I could do something, that I'm pretty sure I can do it. If I tell you that I cannot do something, you obviously now know, he can't do it, not within that
Mm-hmm.
time frame or within this specific scenario. But that satisfaction, one, of building trust with my partners like yourself, and then with the clients, right? Because your client just bought a beautiful home.
Mm-hmm. A
This is an
multi-family home.
a
Mm-hmm.
multifamily home. This is an immigrant family who's just like my own
Dreams.
family,
Right.
right? Just like my own family came to the U.S. in 1990. They're building their own financial future here, and so
And we made their dreams come
we made
true.
their dreams come true. Yeah, that
Yeah. Yeah.
satisfaction brings tears
Oh,
to my
nobody
eyes.
can take that away from you. It's
No,
just so
yeah,
amazing. It's
yeah.
just beyond. Yeah. Yeah.
it,
It's
it,
really
it brings
beautiful.
tears to my eyes. It
Yeah.
gives me goosebumps, so
Oh.
when your client called me after the transaction closed the next morning,
Mm-hmm.
and she was
Hear
so
their voice
happy.
of happiness. Yes.
Oh my God,
Yes,
there's no
definitely.
price to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that commercial, like it's priceless, really, because and
Yeah.
that's what drives me. It's the fact that 10 years ago, 20 years ago when I started and I was on the back end of the mortgage business,
Mm-hmm.
everything was just a number, the humanity of it was stripped away. Now I'm
Yes.
on the front end, I'm talking to clients and to realtor partners every day. And there's that, there's the psychology, there's all the emotions that one goes through during a transaction, especially a difficult one, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's the anxiety, but when you get to the end, at the
You
end of
made
that
it very
rainbow, you go,
smooth though. I was like, I mean, because we were on a time crunch.
we were,
And that was another factor, right?
yep,
The timelines. And
yep,
I mean, they had to switch for somebody that couldn't deliver the mortgage to finding somebody that would do the mortgage. And like I said, you met all the deadlines, and that was amazing. I
thank
didn't
you,
know if we were gonna make it. He
thank
could
you.
have lost his deposit. So many things could have happened, and
Yes,
I was just
yes.
glad that we were able to get them to the closing table. So,
Yeah, thank you. And
um,
Carla, I just want to say something. It's the with respect to that, right? Like
mhm.
those we go through those emotions, and
Yeah,
as far as can I deliver it, right? Like, I take that myself, my team, my business partner, we take that very seriously. And we, when we speak to you or speak to the buyer and we tell them like, yes, we're going to be able to close. Today's November 11th. We're going to be able to close by the end of the month. We don't take on more transactions than we can handle because
right.
we go through those emotions like ourselves, and we treat every client as if, okay, this older lady, she could be my grandmother, this young
Mm-hmm.
couple, this was me 10
With
years
children
ago,
or right,
like,
or me, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So like we treat them like as if this was my mother, this was my grandmother, this is my brother, this is
Mm-hmm.
my younger
No,
cousin.
I saw that. I mean, it was personal, and
Yeah,
that's what
we
I
do.
like
Yeah,
because I think I do business the same way.
yeah,
So
exactly,
so I
exactly.
I, I was able to relate to
Connect. Yeah,
everything. So yeah, and connect
exactly.
with that. Yeah. So
Perfect.
tell us, what is something that we don't know, that people would like to know about you
Um,
or about your business?
well, I mean, I think that the thing
Sometimes
that,
people think that lenders are all the same, I mean,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the main thing, right, is that like I said, we take these transactions very, very seriously. And we treat every client as if they were a member of our own family
Mhm.
because we understand that this is business, right? Like if somebody puts down a $25,000 deposit or even a thousand
Mhm.
dollar deposit,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's real money to just somebody buying $1 million house. $1,000 might not be very much to them,
Anything, right?
anything, but for somebody who's buying their first home and it's 100,000, 200,000, they've worked really hard to save that deposit. And when they put a contract together, that's a financial document. That's responsibilities that many people are involved in this transaction: the buyer, the buyer's agent, the listing agent, the seller. So we take those responsibilities very, very seriously, and we strive to make sure that we adhere to those timelines, right? Because I've seen so many lenders who don't, who basically don't care or not on top of their game as far as the deadlines. They feel like, oh, if we're if we're gonna not gonna close on time, the seller will just extend. And
Mm-hmm.
there are sellers out there who are
Sometimes they
very
don't want to
difficult.
do that.
Yeah, no, very
That's
difficult sellers to deal with, especially during the past year, right? Because there were so many offers.
mm-hmm.
So there were sellers going, hey, my house has appreciated in value. If you can't
Mm-hmm.
close, I'm going to take your deposit and I'm going to sell it for a higher price to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So we do take that in,
So
to heart.
yeah, so you take it very seriously,
Yes, yes.
and I like that. So now, would you say are your lows and and your highs, and also uh, tell us a memorable story that I'm sure you have a lot, but tell us one that we can.
So I think, there are a lot of memorable stories that we have, right? Like, but I think that they generally have a theme, which is, I've gotten sort of yelled at, or by clients, or realtors, because of the stress during a
Do a
transaction, right?
transaction.
So, and not yelled at, but like, spoken to in like a less than pleasant manner, by listing agents or by realtors. Like, well, why is the underwriter asking for this, right? Why is the lender asking for more and more information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I understand that during the process, and I don't take those things personally.
That's good.
Because it's just part of the
Just
process, right?
happens.
It happens. It happens, right? And I
Stress.
stress, and but so those are the lows, right? Because I then get stressed myself. But the highs are so much, higher. It's because when you get to the end of a transaction,
Compensate. They
oh my
compensate
gosh,
the loss.
when you have, I have somebody that I'm working with right now. Actually, we just closed. And just she refinanced. So, she helped her son during the pandemic. Her son lost her job, and
Mhm.
she was financially supporting her son on her credit cards. And this is an elderly woman.
Mm,
Um, but she got herself into a position where she couldn't no longer support him. And so it's the
mm,
question of like, what do I do now? Like, if I don't, I either file for bankruptcy, or I take cash equity out of my home to get back to, a decent financial position. And so helping someone like that who's 71 years old,
wow.
and you get that phone call at the end, like, I've went to two other lenders, they told
Mm,
me no. Um, I actually had to switch her during the process from one lender to another.
mm-hmm.
But we got it done, right? So getting that phone call, like, thank you, or it's just that you just can't describe. It's such
Yeah.
a great feeling. It's better
Yeah.
than, I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs, but it's better than drugs, I would imagine, because that
The
feeling,
high that you get from it.
that high
Right,
is
right.
so great. It's a natural high.
Yeah, I guess that's why we are in this business. You have
Yeah,
to have some kind of
yeah.
uh, you know, uh, I don't know,
No, I mean,
to be able to do it, right? So
you're right. You have to have, obviously, a thick, thick skin,
again,
because there are a lot of things that go on that people don't usually know
yeah, you have
about.
to
But
learn not to take things personal, like you said,
yes, you
and
do.
and then just appreciate those beautiful moments that you have with
Yes,
the families,
exactly.
like the one we experienced.
Right.
So
And you are, um facing, you're the face of the transaction with the
right,
client. So you get a lot more of that human, like, you're almost a psychologist in a way, because obviously when you first take somebody out to see homes, they're excited, we're gonna buy a
yeah,
place. So, and then they go from that high of like, to sometimes they don't get, right. They put in an offer on a house that they loved and they don't get it. So then there's that crash. And then, okay, we find another house that you really love, and then the high of getting that offer accepted. So you have the little bit of a roller coaster with
and then
clients,
inspections,
inspections, right? So you
and then the
see a lot
mortgage
more. Yes,
commitment.
exactly. So I commend you for, and I used to be a realtor, right? So in between my careers, right,
Uh-huh.
I was a realtor for several years. Um,
Okay. So you
and
understand the whole
I
process.
understand, but I tell you, like, I commend you. That's why I got out of being a realtor, because I couldn't deal with the emotional roller coasters of up and down with the transaction.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
rather,
mm-hmm.
once you have the contract, I can deal with that short term roller
Short period of
coaster,
time.
that 30-day period.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Marcia, thank you so much for everything, and also just tell us where they can reach you. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
and the products that you offer, or some of them, I
Okay,
imagine that there are a lot, but tell us about some
sure.
of them. Mhm.
Absolutely. So, I would say, so obviously you can reach me on my personal cell phone number. It's 917-843-6850. It's a New York number, but I am based in Florida. And trust me, that cell phone is never too far from reach, you know?
And what are the states that
Uh,
you serve?
sure. We're also on Instagram, right? So it's called Amethyst Mortgage on Instagram, and also our website is amethystmortgage.com. We are licensed in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and we're pending in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Colorado. And then there are other states where our company is licensed, but I'm not personally licensed. So reach out if you want. As far as products that we offer, right? We basically work with every sort of product that's out there. It could be a VA loan for veterans. Today's Veterans Day, so like
Mm-hmm.
veterans, VA loans, FHA loans for first-time home buyers with very little down payment, right? 3% down payment. Conventional loans, foreign national loans, right? We're in South Florida, a lot of Brazilians, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Colombians here, a lot of French folks in here. They bring their money from their country here. So we offer those products. Commercial loans, investor loans. There are loans where folks who are investors who don't want to show their tax returns can buy with just it's called debt service coverage ratio. It's just based on how much does the property produce in income through rents, and is that enough to cover the mortgage? I'm sorry, I think something
Lost the
happened
camera.
with the camera.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this. Oh, camera.
Just a
Um,
small technical
yeah, exactly. But we
difficulties.
do offer all of those loans. And we are basically, my business partner and I and we have a team of about 6 folks altogether. We're always available to have a conversation about your needs, and your
Okay.
clients' needs.
Well, I'm going to put all the information below this video. And Marcio, I lost you, but thank you again for being, on the program. And
Oh, there we go.
oh, there you go.
Sorry
So,
about that. I don't know why the camera went out, but here I am. No, it's my pleasure, Carla. I appreciate the trust that you had in us during the process, and I look forward to many more transactions with you
and me
and your
too.
and your team. It was awesome working with you.
Yeah, we
I
did it in
think
New Jersey. We're gonna do it here in Florida,
Florida,
and yeah,
exactly,
definitely.
exactly.
So thank you to you, Marcio
Thank,
and Kyla, and we'll be in touch until next time. Thank you again. Have a great day.
thank you, Carla.
Carla
Appreciate
Olivares
it.
for all your real estate needs. 754-777-3988 with eXp Realty. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.